We went to a family reunion in Alabama. Came back to Kansas, told me to go to sleep because you was tired of driving.
And what happened?
We ended up in Mexico. And then he go holler, I need you to calm down because I got drugs up under the seat.
She's the judge who gives rules on the law and life. She's intense with common sense. She's Judge Lynn Toler on Divorce Court, where real couples deal with real life. Who would have thought when Sarah and Charles married 13 years ago that 5 years into their marriage they would be separated? Now, after an 8-year separation, both finally are ready to sign on the dotted line.
He was doing crack, rock, crack, cocaine, whatever he can get his hands on.
Nobody can talk to her. All that anger in her, that had to come before my time.
And tomorrow, the woman who Sarah says came between her and her husband takes the stand and sparks fly.
She hates the fact that I'm with her husband.
That she thought was gonna come back.
He was at my house, okay? He was coming to my house. He was having sex with me.
All this and more on this explosive two-part session of Divorce Court.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lynn Toler presiding. You may be seated.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here today with Sarah Colvin and Charles Colvin. Mr. and Mrs. Colvin, you have been married for 13 years. However, you have been separated the last 8 of them. And I think one of the reasons that occurred is in the courtroom with us today. She is Ms. Vanessa Mitchum.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Mitchum, good day to you, and I'm sure we will be hearing from you in a little while. You finally want to end this relationship, get divorced, because you've been separated 8 years. Enough is enough. You have some financial matters that you would like me to resolve for you at this time. However, before we do that, I'm going to start with Mrs. Colvin. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your marriage and why you're here in divorce court today?
When I first met Charles, Charles was nice, Charles had character, Charles had style. When I married Charles, Charles became the nightmare. Drugs became more important than family. Drugs became more important than me. And that trick rabbit squirrel over there also.
What now? Oh, okay. Now, we're not going to name call. When did he start using?
I think he was using before we got married.
But you didn't know?
Yes.
Mr. Colvin, were you using before you got married?
Yes, I was doing marijuana.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And did it progress to other things?
Yes. Yes, it did.
Okay. Did those other things start to consume your life?
No, that started to consume my life.
That? I'm not a that. Okay. I'm a queen. Do you understand?
Well, so, Ms. Colvin, why don't you explain to me the extent to which the drug use became a part of your existence, and then tell me what other matters continued to tear at the marriage until you had to separate?
Since he says that I'm a nightmare, when he got his income tax check, you remember the crack party you threw at the hotel? Remember getting busted there? Didn't give me no money?
You didn't deserve
Remember
it.
you called me to get you out?
That's what you supposed to do.
Okay.
Now, Ms. Colvin, I know you hot and you got a reason to be out, but he was doing crack?
He was doing crack, rock, crack, cocaine, whatever he can get his hands on. They busted him down at the hotel, and when they took him to jail, I went down there with a friend. She told me, don't go up in there. I went on up in the hotel. Bed messed up and stuff, went in the bathroom. There's a condom up in the trash bin used. He probably was using it on that trick.
Mr. Colvin, was all that going on in your life for a moment there?
No, not really like she said. You know, I did get a case from a motel room.
And I got a case. It's so funny. You use the passive voice, and then I got a case like it's like I caught a cold. It wasn't really my fault. It just happened to me. Mr. Colvin, did you end up going to jail as a function of that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Ms. Cole, what you also say, obviously, that he was unfaithful to you. Why don't you tell me about when that started and how you found out?
But that's not the only drug case I've been through with him.
Oh, you want to tell me another one? Please go right ahead. I'm so sorry.
We went to a family reunion in Alabama. Remember that? came back to Kansas, told me to go to sleep because you was tired of driving.
And what happened?
We ended up in Mexico. Going through Texas, he took a wrong turn. So I wake up and I'm raised up like this, looking, there's little Mexican kids, the music is all in Spanish. And, I'm like, where the hell are we at, When you go in, you can go in, but when you come out, there's that gate, that border patrol's there.
Right.
And then he gonna holler, I need you to calm down, because I got drugs up under the seat. Okay, he could have sent me to prison, but I'm the nightmare, though. Check
You
yourself,
had
brother.
her going to another state. She goes to sleep, and you go to make a drug run in Mexico?
No, we took a wrong turn. Besides that, because I've never made that route before, she had and she was asleep and I just went wrong.
But when you get to Mexico,
Yes.
they got their little gate, and the people, you didn't notice that you were going through into another country? You didn't see that?
The way we went, there was no gate. It just on the way back.
Oh.
I just made a turnaround when all the music got different, and that's when I woke her up.
You didn't wake me up when no
Drugs just
music
fell
got
in the
different.
car.
Don't sit there and tell that
And
lie.
the
woke
reason I
myself
was
up.
driving is because she had pink eye and couldn't drive because her eyes had matted together.
Okay.
So that's why.
Excuse
she
me.
was sick.
I didn't
But
have no.
but
He's
still,
not gonna rub
with
that
these
lie.
drugs
I
under
didn't
the
have
seat.
pink eye.
Come on.
So, if now,
I didn't have no
listen.
pink eye. Eyes
If
wouldn't
I can
shut
work
together.
with you, Mr. Colvin, you can make a
Yes.
wrong turn, you end up in Mexico.
Right.
Okay, that could happen to anybody. But, But why did you have drugs in the car
There
when you
was
came
no
back?
drugs in this car.
You didn't tell her not
No,
to
I
act
did
up
not
because
tell
you
her
had
no
drugs under the
drugs
seat?
there.
You are
I
a
would
liar.
not
We got the
travel
order.
that far with some drug under my seat like that.
Okay.
When divorce court continues, what did Charles do that caused Sarah pain?
They take us down to the jail. They handcuffed me to a table for 2 hours.
Everyone warned you about marrying your mate. If divorce is the only solution, call toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or visit our website at divorcecourt.com or become a fan at facebook.com/divorcecourt.
Divorce Court is back with the case of Sarah Colvin, who says her husband's drug use ruined their marriage. But is cheating also a factor?
You cheated on me 3 months in the marriage. What you mean anger?
You drove me
Okay.
to it.
Ms. Colvin, tell me another event.
Another event where he threatened my life. Charles gets around here. He gets money from guys. And he's supposed to bring him some drugs back, some dope, right? He don't bring the dope back. And then they go up to my sister and ask her where we live at. And she said, I'm not telling you where she live at because I live there. Them guys was mad and they wanted their money back. But see, he kept their money and told them that you was gonna go and get them some dope because you took their money and smoked it in crack. Okay? Remember that?
Nope, I'm afraid
Yeah,
I
you
don't
remember.
remember that.
Mr. Colvin, could that have happened?
He
No.
has a drug problem.
No, that
the
couldn't
whole
have
problem
happened.
in our marriage has been about the crack. The drugs come before his kids. The drug came for his wife. The drug came for his job. He couldn't even go to work on construction. You got these little blue outhouses you use.
Right.
He in there getting high. He got the crack pipe.
So she in the bathroom
Okay.
with me at work
Okay.
to see this?
Did you ever have any circumstance where he was at home using or
No, he didn't.
rested at home or
See,
any?
that's the problem. I'm not that type of lady. See, I got class about myself. But see, that over there, that trick, they do it together. She's a crackhead too.
Well, didn't the police burst into your house at one point?
Oh, yes, they did. Over
Tell me
there,
about
yeah.
that.
The police came, they knocked at the door. Boom, boom, boom. It's 9-something in the morning. 3-something in the morning. I said, Charles, somebody's at the door. He goes to the door, and they said, we got a search warrant. We need to search the house. He holding up against the door, all these drug task force, and they pushes the door in. They go up in here, searching up in the kitchen. I'm short. He taller than me. He got dope all up in the top of the cabinets up there. They pulling out, and they pulling my flour out and stuff. They in an unmarked car. They take us down to the jail. They handcuffed me to a table for 2 hours.
That's because
You
of the
remember that?
joint you had
You
that they
remember
got
that?
off
Nah.
you.
You know the reason
The
why.
task force don't break down your door
No.
for a joint. They were looking
But
for the
he
other
was-
stuff.
he was
Yes,
selling.
they
He was
was
selling.
looking,
Hey, it was-
but they only found a joint she was sitting there smoking.
So you're telling me that the task force had bad information?
Yeah.
Because and they kicked down your door by accident because you weren't using.
No, I didn't.
And the reason that you two both went to jail is because she had a joint. This is what you're telling me.
And she was released. Yes, they came looking for some, but there was
Were
none
you
there.
released?
Yes.
I don't
Your
believe
Honor,
a
No,
word
because
you
there
tell
was
me.
there was nothing there.
You know what? The table is cemented to the floor.
Right.
And I got ridges up in my hand because those cuffs were so tight on me. And the other police officer said, why don't you let her loose? He said, no. He handcuffs me down here to this thing, okay? They in there talking to you. And you know what they was talking about.
Yeah.
And if you didn't get caught with nothing, what you run to Alabama for, Charles? You
Run
not
to
supposed to run out of
Alabama?
here. Then I get a
No,
phone
I
call.
took my son
Then
back
I
away
get a
from
phone,
around
you're
you.
lying. Then
Took
I
my
get a
son
phone
from around
call
your
and left on the
crazy
answer
self.
machine. Dude said he want his money or he want his dope. Remember I told you about that call?
Nope.
Dude, he was gonna kill you or blow that call.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
standing here
whatever.
and I ain't dead.
Mr.
Whatever.
Colvin, Mr. Colvin?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you left.
Hang on, Mrs. Colvin.
Yeah.
Mr. Colvin, I haven't allowed give you an
Yeah.
opportunity to speak. Why don't you tell? She has a lot of specific stories.
Yes.
Is she incorrect? Was your drug use light? What is the problem in your relationship if that wasn't it?
Well, you just had a demonstration of it. Nobody can talk to her. All that anger in her, that had to come before my time. And we've been separated all the time, and she still got
Anger?
all this
You
anger.
cheated on me 3 months in the marriage. What you mean anger?
You drove me
Okay.
to it.
When divorce court continues, will Sarah admit to setting Charles's truck ablaze?
This truck all of a sudden catches a fire. She thought it was a pimp mobile, as she say. She had to broke the windows out of it before I went away.
Did you tear up the car on purpose?
If you would like your case heard on Divorce Court, call us toll free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at divorcecourt.com and follow us on Twitter at Divorce Court. Divorce Court returns with the case of Sarah Colvin, who finally is seeking a divorce after an 8-year separation from her drug-abusing husband. But did he cheat on her as well?
I want to know about the cheating. He cheated 3 months into the relation.
He
Tell me
cheated
about
3
that.
months into the relationship, okay? When I brought Charles up here, he came up here with me to be with me. You wrote it. You remember what you wrote in the Bible?
Now, Ms. Colvin, you can't go
She's
2
talking
seconds
to
without
you.
turning. Please, just tell me.
Okay, yes, ma'am. He said he would love me always. He would always love me. He would always be there for me. He ain't been there for me. He been there for everybody else like a dog in heat. And she's one of them. He was cheating with her, and my sister caught up onto it. And then she started taking him to work. He's sliding down up in the van, don't want to be seen. And my sister walked right on over there to see, to make sure it was him, and said, hey, Charles, what you doing up in there? And then he on the phone, then he on the telephone in the bedroom in my mother's house, talking all sweet and hey, I can't wait to see you, cello. And you know what? We're married. I went in there and dived on that bed, and we was wrestling over that phone.
Mr. Colvin.
And then one more.
Okay.
One more.
All righty.
Oh, my
Same
God.
place that we had the drug bust.
Yeah.
When the girl was calling my house, and she said, I don't want to break up your marriage or nothing, but I've been sleeping with your husband. I had 2 jobs working them. You see what I'm saying? I traveled as a med aide, and I was working at a nursing home as a CNA. When Mr. took me to work for 6 o'clock that morning, you went on over there and got you a lick dip, and then come back putting his lips on me. He went and had sex with her, and she told me. And when I started telling him that, he go to walking out the door. She told me even about my grandchild up in the house. She said, I done talked to him in the house while you up in the house with him. Then he gonna go running out the door to get in his car and leave then. Guilty.
Mr. Colvin, what is your response to that story?
Man, Your Honor, my response to this, I mean, the lady got some issues here. You know, maybe I wasn't a goody-goody two-shooting no angel,
Right.
but I wasn't in there by myself.
Okay.
I mean, with
you
this.
tell me about some things she was doing that
Yeah.
made the marriage
Yeah,
untenable.
like, for instance, this case she talking about I got at this motel. Yes, I went away to prison for it.
Right?
And while I'm away, you know, I had a truck that she was go drive the whole while I'm in there. And I'm in there all this time, and the day before I get out, this truck all of a sudden catches a fire. Due to she got the oil change, she saying they left the plug out. Yet, when they pull it out the rack, shouldn't they see the oil running behind it? and
So what do you think she did? Why did you think she did it purposefully, or I'm not understanding what you're telling me.
She thought it was a pimp mobile, as she say. She had them broke the windows out of it before I went away.
Did you tear up the car on purpose?
When Charles went to prison, I paid for that blazer. I finished
That
paying
blazer
for it.
was paid for.
It wasn't paid for. I would go up and pull up to the bank, and the lights are falling out by the cord in the back and stuff. It was raggedy. It wasn't no good. And I took it to the junkyard for $100.
Because it was just torn up.
If that's it.
When divorce court continues, did Sarah push Charles into saying I do?
You said something interesting to me in your papers, that you really didn't want to marry Mrs. Colvin to begin with.
Divorce court returns with the case of Charles Colvin, who admits to causing problems in his marriage but says his wife has issues too. But should this marriage have happened in the first place?
Now, I'm going to start with you, Mr. Colvin, for a moment. You said something interesting to me in your papers, that you really didn't want to marry Mrs. Colvin to begin with.
It's like
Tell me about
when
that.
I got out of prison. Her mother's a very religious lady, and I do respect her.
Right.
And she was not comfortable with me and her still there, unmarried, sleeping in the same room like that. And so,
go ahead.
within a month after I'm out, go through this marriage she arranged.
Whoa.
Go through this marriage she arranged. You know, and it just wasn't meant to be right then.
It was something that you did reluctantly. You didn't
Yes.
really want to do it, but you respected her mother.
No, what he did
Yeah.
was use me to get out of Florida.
You didn't really have anywhere to go.
I was out of Florida, so why
wasn't
would I
out of
still?
Florida.
Come
I
on.
brought you up
Was
here.
part of it that you didn't really have anywhere else to go?
No, that wasn't part of it.
Well, if you hadn't stayed with her, where would you have gone?
Oh, I had friends around. I
Right.
could have went there.
Mrs. Colvin, he says you kind of pushed him into marriage. Is that what happened?
My mother is a real Christian. She ain't no fly-by, okay?
Didn't nobody say
And
that.
we wasn't sleeping in the same bed in a house, not married neither. You just a bald-faced lie. Get it right.
Oh my God! Come
Okay?
on.
Did he want to get married, though? Or did
Answer
you
that.
kind of nudge him into
We
it?
discussed getting married and being together before I brought him up here, because if I thought we wasn't getting married, I would never brought you up here. And look at you now.
When did Ms. Mitchum come into the picture,
Yes.
as far as you know?
Miss Mitchell came in the picture when Charles refused to go down south with me, and my mama was gone from her house, and we wasn't married yet. And she was calling the house, and he was going over there hanging out with her, creeping and sneaking and being with her. She knew he was married. He knew he didn't have no business messing with her.
How did you find out they were
Yes.
together?
How did
My
you?
sister.
No. Oh.
My sister
told
She
you-
told me that he was fooling with her.
Okay. Ms. Mitchum, why don't you come forward? We've been
Yes,
talking
please.
about you.
And tomorrow, Sarah continues her antics.
Let me tell y'all something. I'm not jealous of you
tell
two.
me nothing.
You sitting over
You
here
ain't gotta
telling the
tell
judge
me nothing.
that I'm psychotic.
Look at how you act.
I have my business. You
That's
understand?
why you ain't got a man.
You understand?
Because
I got a
look at
house
how
I
you
live
act.
in. I pay my bills. I got a vehicle. You know what? A trick, rabbit, crack, sweater is what they are. They don't have none of that.
But who will win when Charles's two women come face to face in a battle for his affection?
He was at my house, okay? He
You's
was
a
coming
lie.
to my house. He
Me and
was
her-
having sex with me.
She hates the fact that I'm with her husband.
That she thought was
That,
gonna come
yeah,
back.
That she thought, because she's like, you'll be back, because he chose me.